And welcome to my YouTube channel. So this was one of the vlogs that I did that I had to re-record. And I guess it'll be a healing process for me as well. And hopefully this video or testimony would help someone get through what they're going through. So let's get into it again.
I used to think my mistakes was who I was. The devil is a lie, killing all that he loves. Used to walk around the world with a bunch of pain. Ain't what I wanna be, but I can't complain. Used to think my mistakes was who I was. The devil is a lie, killing all that he loves. Used to walk around the world with a bunch of pain. Ain't what I wanna be, but I can't complain. You can't tell me that my God ain't real. I don't care how they feel. Yes, I got a testimony, cleanse me like.
Welcome back, girl. So I'm doing this off my other camera, and hopefully it would record this and I don't have any glitches or any problems with uploading this. Okay. So I'm going to start with molestation. And this happened when I was, excuse me, I can't even remember what age I was, right? So I'm going to say what I do remember is it was the son's babysitter, and she had two sons. I want to say she had a daughter too. I can't remember. But anywho, it's so weird. So we're gonna jump right into it. So I think it was, I can't remember where my mom knew this lady from. I don't know if she was like just a babysitter, or like an ex-coworker that babysitter. I can't remember. But anyway, she had two sons, and I remember that, you know, they used to touch on me. It was the older son, and then of course the younger son followed, and he was like a child like me. I wish I could remember what age I was. So anyway, that went on for it didn't go on for too long. But let me tell you how God worked that one out. So I remember she fed us, it was some fried fish. And the fish, when I smelt it, I guess it must have been like the grease or something. When I smelt it, I became nauseous. So I told her, I was like, I don't want to eat it. Like, I'm not hungry. But like, you know how back in the day, it's like, you gonna eat your food. They basically force you to eat the food, right? So I end up taking a few bites, and after those few bites, I threw up. Like, I remember how everything was. We were outside. It was like she had like this picnic table set up, and I just threw up. Ugh. So of course she had to tell my mom what happened, and I guess my mom was like, "Oh no, my baby not coming here," because I guess she must have told her the whole story. Like, she didn't really want to eat it, but I made her eat it and she threw up. But after that incident, my mom did not bring me back over there. And that's how God worked that situation out. But that was like my first introduction that I remember, that I recall, I would say, of like coming in like the spiritual contact with like lust and things like that. Because even if you were molested, you were raped, you know, it's still something that you have to heal from. It's still some things that may have probably been embedded in you, or like I say, basically some things you have to heal from. You have to get rid of those soul ties. So just because you've been molested or raped, it don't mean that you scot free, and you know what I'm saying? It wasn't consensual, so you good. No, you still have to heal from those things. And honestly, like, even though that happened when I was a child, I'm just now learning that and understanding, like, yeah, even though my spirit is free, my spirit is great. Like, my spirit is great. God's been bringing so many things to me that I still have to heal from. And the molestation and the rapes were things that I never really sat down and took time out to heal and do the work. Now, 2023, I was in therapy for, you could say almost the whole year, pretty much. And it helped me so much. I broke free from so many things. So I'm a big therapy advocate, right? So it was so many things that I had to heal from and deal with and unravel and get straightened, right? That the molestation and the rapes kind of placed on a back burner, because even though I may have been living and seeing through my traumas, it wasn't as important as what was going on in my life at the time. If I'm making sense, it was priority, but it wasn't priority. Like, there's other things that I got going on that I need to fix before I get back here. So it's like this house, like we are houses, right? And they say with each room, you want to let God in and say, God, you could have control of this room. I let you in this room. I invite you in. But there was this one door that I guess I didn't let God in to really heal. And when I did, give him the invitation, was just dropping all kinds of stuff. And what I mean by invitation, I want to say the prayer was some sort like, is there any other things that I need to heal from or forgive? Let me know. It was to that extent. And baby, when I tell you he was dropping stuff that I thought I either forgave or I totally forgot. Like, I'm not saying that if you were molested or raped, you just forget about it. But, for the most part, you bury that stuff. You like, look, I'm finna put it under the rug. I'm going to bury it. I'm going to lock it in this door. And we ain't never going to go back there, because I'm not going back there. It's very uncomfortable. And sometimes you may still feel ashamed or whatever the reason is. But it was definitely something that I thought I threw away and got rid of and was just okay without having to go back there and sit with it and heal from. Like, how do you really feel about this? Like, how did that experience affect your decisions today? And when I sit and think about it, I said, oh my God. It's like I was still operating out of that trauma without knowing that I was. So I'm just grateful and thankful that God has revealed that to me. That was my first that I recall, that I remember, of like sexual trauma, like molestation and rape. So my first rape situation was, okay, so I was with this guy, right? And of course he was an older guy. I was a teenager. I can't remember what teen, but it was with the older guy. I don't know if he was in his early 20s or late teens, but you know what? I think he was in his early 20s. So, and it's so crazy because to this day, I cannot remember how I met this dude. Like, real talk, to this day, I cannot remember how I met this dude, but we were conversating or whatever. Of course, it was one of those sneak arounds, because I don't think I could have a boyfriend at the time. I can't remember what the conversations were like with me and my mom at that time about, boyfriends and things of that nature. But I know my mom, she worked a lot, so you know how that go. You just get into stuff. And I was a very curious person because my mom was an overprotective parent. And my dad wasn't in my life growing up like that. So it was just me and her and my imagination. And when I tell you, my imagination used to do all this and just wanted to see what was, what was going on outside, because my cousins, my other friends, they stayed outside. They, used to hear about, oh yeah, we went here and we did this. And I'm like, wow, sounds fun, bro. Anywho, so like I say, he was, I guess you could say, my boyfriend or a dude I was messing around with. I don't know. I can't remember the titles that we had, or if we even had titles, but it was definitely some guy that I was involved with. So, we were messing around, I guess you could say. We were involved sexually. I would say that. Definitely involved sexually. So I remember this one time he came and got me. And I can't remember. Like, when I tell you this has been so long, I don't think it couldn't have been the late 90s. It had to be the early 2000s. I don't think it was the late 90s. But it was, you talking about a century, baby. Like, this is years ago. So I remember he took me, we were going somewhere. And then he was like, "Oh, I need to stop over here for something. You know, me and you could chill in the process," because he was involved in the music industry in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And I remember a popular Louisiana rapper posted this guy and said he basically was looking for him because he was, I guess, being scandalous, and I guess dude was still being a snake out there in Louisiana. But anywho, we went by this like this little motel, so hotel motel. So we get out, you know, I'm with my dude, so my guards are down. I ain't tripping about nothing, you know. I'm trusting this guy because I've hung out with this guy plenty of times before. So we get in there, you know, he started talking, and then he's using imagination what was going on between me and him, and I heard something in the bathroom. I'm like, whoa, what's going on? And he was like, "Oh, don't worry about that. That's such and such." I'm like, "Bro, we kind of like doing something." So, long story short, not to get into too much detail, dude comes out. The guy that I was in a relationship with holds me down. Use your imagination. So of course after that, I'm looking like, you know what I mean. So, guy that I was with, you know, took me home, and that was that. Now, this is the part of the story. When I first recorded this, it brought tears to my eyes. But now, since I was able to say the first time, this time shouldn't be so hard. So there was a time me and my mom was out eating, and I can't remember the restaurant. Sorry. We were out eating, and I remember seeing the older guy. And dude looked like he was married with children, my age. I used to hear about stuff like that. Like, how could a man rape a girl or a child, even boys, you know, and they have children the same age as the people that they're having sex with, like. And so I'm looking, and I guess the look on my face, my mom was like, "What's wrong?" I was like scared, and I mean, I should have said something then, but I didn't, because in my mind, like, it was like I'm overthinking. I'm like, I don't want him to do nothing to my mom. I don't want my mom to turn up, because if y'all know Miss Sharon Bloom, baby, born and raised from New Orleans, didn't take no mess. What you saying? And I didn't want nothing to happen to her. I don't want to cause a scene, because me and her, we out eating, having a good time. Like, I didn't want to be a vibe killer. So it was so many things going through my mind. But so I didn't say anything, and I was just like, I told her, I was like, "Oh, nothing." You know, I can't remember the conversation after that. Like, if she was pressing, like, "No, what's going on?" But I can't remember. But just seeing him out with what appeared to be his wife and kids, it was just like, I was in total shock and disgust, because, dude, like, I know what you did, you know. I don't even know if it's even, what's the word, valuable or okay to even say who it was. Like, I forgot his name. I just know that he was a part of a music group, the Four Horsemen. He was the bald head guy. That's all I remember of the guy. So, yeah, that was that. The guy who I was with at the time, I want to say his name was Christopher, but he was like light skinned, green eyes, you know, a pretty boy. You young, you like, "Oh my God, so pretty." But like I said, he had so many enemies. So, you know, this is not to like bash anyone, because truly, I've forgiven all y'all. This is my testimony video. This time, for sure, I know I was in high school. And this was someone that I went to Baker High School with, and that stayed. If you guys know Baker, Louisiana, like Barrington, those townhomes, and then you have Heritage Court. Like, I don't know what the setup is now. This was years ago. Excuse me. So I lived in Barrington. He stayed in Heritage Court, and a lot of us, we caught the bus or whatever. So we used to walk home. You know, catch the bus together. After school, sometimes we used to play basketball, or even on the weekends, we used to play football, tackle football. they used to play, Negro Knock. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes I would play when I was allowed to go outside. Or when my mom let me outside. I used to go and play with them, but it wasn't that often. Or maybe even video games, like when my mom was at work, I'll let them come in, play some video games and things like that. But when, you got to go, mom finna come home for work or whatever. But there was this guy that went to Baker High, and I remember this day, and I should have listened, but I didn't really understand too much when it came to like your intuition or discerning. I felt it, but I didn't know what it was to really act upon it. But I do remember after we got off the bus, he was like, "Yo, you want to check out some beats? They got some beats, you know what I'm saying? You can listen to it, check out." So I'm like, my passion, my heart was with music, and I want to say that's what the enemy used to get me to go there. But when he said that, it was kind of like, I started to keep going, but then I was like, ooh, beats. I know it's like basic, but like I really love music. So I said, all right, right quick, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, man, just don't stay long or whatever. So we go in there, I'm chilling, and he like, wait right here. So I'm chilling in the front room on the sofa, sitting down. And I'm like, man, like, what are you doing? Like, it take you that long to get your boombox and your CD? We had the CDs back in the day. And I'm just like, man, I'm finna go. But so when I thought about getting up and going, he comes out. I'm like, all right, because I sure finna, you know what I'm saying? So basically, he gets the boombox, the CD, start playing the beats. You know what I'm saying? I'm listening, I'm vibing. And he pretty much, grabbed me and used your imagination. So I tried to fight him off. I couldn't. Just waited until, he was finished. So, after that, I walked home. And I want to say my mom was home. I really want to say my mom was home. But it was one of those, you know how like on the sitcoms you see the children walking in real fast. Oh, hey, hi. And they just keep going. I want to say at the time my mom was occupied with something. Because normally, don't nothing pass up, Sharon. Like, don't nothing pass up. Because I want to say it was that time when I had walked in real fast and was just like, and I remember telling a female friend, a homegirl, it wasn't like no LGBT thing, but I told her and I told the dude that I was dating at the time. You know how you have your little boyfriend, your high school boyfriend, but all y'all really do is just pass letters back and forth. And he stayed in our neighborhood. Matter of fact, he stayed, like, if I was to look out my room window, he stayed right across the street. So I ended up telling her, and she empathized with me, and I ended up telling him. And he was like, oh, I'm going to see about it or whatever. So I look out my window, he talking with them. They just, talking or whatever. And I see him coming back in the neighborhood. And they just walking like it's all cool. And from that day, the dude that I was dating in high school, he kind of backed off me. And it kind of hurt my feelings, I ain't going to lie. Because I'm like, how? You supposed to be my boyfriend. And you sit here acting all buddy-buddy with this dude after what he did to me. So me and him, we didn't really talk too much. It wasn't until, let me see, that was high school. I want to say possibly 10 years later, something like that. The guy that was my boyfriend at the time, he hit me up. I think it might have been Facebook. And he was like, did that really happen between you and Champ? And I was like, yeah, like, why would I lie about something like that? This was, of course, before the Me Too, even though women have lied about that. Like, I wouldn't lie about nothing like that. And I was like, no, like, why would I lie about something like that? And he was like, well, I just wanted to say that, I'm sorry for not being there for you. And I was like, wow. Even though a part of me was like, it's kind of too late. But the other part was like, wow, that's what's up. You know what I mean? Like, maybe a part of me needed that, wanted that. So That was that story, and I did hear from my homegirl that I told that another girl was raped or assaulted by him as well, and there was some rumors of charges, so I'm not sure if those charges went through or not. Now I'm in college. I am in college. It is the year 20. This is my first time being in Georgia. My first time that I went to Georgia. I want to say this was 2007. 2007. Now when the rape occurred, I can't remember if it was 2007 or 2008 because I stayed out there. Well, I was in Georgia for like a year in college. So anyway, so I'm doing my music thing. You feel me? Like I did a show and the brat was there. She gave me a shout out. Like I'm really moving out here in these ATL Georgia streets. What you saying? Who am I? She is me. And I wish they had the footage because we had this show on campus at the college campus. You know how the college campuses, the dorms, they'll have this like entertainment room where they have like a pool table and stuff like that. And I was just rapping and the dudes rapped with me. We had the crowd going crazy. Oh my gosh, I wish somebody had that footage. Because they claim somebody recorded it, but I've never seen it. I always wanted to see it, and I don't know. Anyway, so I linked up with, and I don't know, I can't remember how I linked up with these guys, but they were A&Rs from Universal. And I got a ride to the studio because at this time, even though I was in college, kids having cars in college wasn't really a big thing. We was just happy. We was out the hood. We was out of our hometown. We was in a new city that be popping, you know what I'm saying? And I was in school for video production and film. I wanted to do audio, but it was talking about my grades for my freshman year, so I had to start in video and then go to audio, but I really liked the video because the teacher was amazing and the way she taught that I fell in love with video, so I kept on going with video production. Okay, that was a quick brief of my college. So, I'm in the studio, we vibing, and the one thing I noticed about like the music industry, they would always ask me about my sexuality, and I never really understood why, because what they got to do with music. But one dude was like, and I don't know if he was for real, lying, or, I don't know. He was like, I don't even know if I should say her name, but she's a multi-million-dollar, like, artist. She had her own TV show on was it BET? Reality TV show on BET. Beautiful, and it was like, oh, she like you, and saying all this other stuff, and I was like on the down low, even though I was kind of attracted to him, but I wasn't really acting upon those, like talking about, even though I did in the past, but that's a whole other story. So anywho, we in studio, we vibing. I go ahead and lay my verse down. It's like, yo, that's fire, that's dope. We end up going to the club that same night, giving it to the DJ, because that's what, I don't know if they still do that, but back in the day, that's how it was. You in the studio, you vibing, you record it, you want to test your record out, you go to the club, give it to the DJ is spinning, you might have to pay over, you might have to tip them, or if it was like that, he might just show you love and just play it. I doubt if they do that now, but maybe so, I don't know. So he plays it. DJ loves my verse. I'm not just saying that just to say that, but he played my verse back like at least 4 to 5 times, like back to back. I'm not just saying that just to say that, like, this is for real, for real. This happened. And I was like, oh, that's fire. You know what I'm saying? So, it made me feel good. But, after that experience, I remember my homeboy telling me, and I can't remember if this was before or after the rape situation. He was like, he called me, he was like, hey, yo, I wanted to tell you that they took you off the verse and put somebody else on there. And I was like, what? I think this might have been after. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah. He was like, it might have been before, I'm sorry. He was like, yeah, the girl that they put on there had sex with. So people really do in the industry, they have sex for position. Like, of course, it's probably not now with everything that's has been coming out, but people really do that. I wasn't gonna do that because, baby, I have my own studio. I know how to record myself. I'm not finna have sex for no studio time, for no beats, for none of that. I've always been like strong-willed in that way. Like if I wanted to do something with you, I'm gonna do it because I want to, not because I need something from you. I don't know. I guess this is my stubborn ways, whatever. So anywho, I remember one of the A&Rs hit me up one day and he was like, "Yo, I want to have a meeting with you. I want to I'm interested in being your manager. We could talk about some other business things, you know what I mean?" And I'm like, "Cool, like, where you want to meet up?" And he was like, he gave me the address to his residence, and that was the first mistake because like I was kind of oblivious. I think that's the word I want to use. Basically, if you told me something, I'll believe you. I wasn't going to like second guess you, discern it. I was, whatever your word was bond. Because that's what I grew up with. You know what I'm saying? My mom's word was bond. Like, if she said it, you feel me, the follow through was there. I'm thinking everybody like that, like this, even though, rapes and molestations and things like that in the past. So, anywho, I go over there. I want to say I took the MARTA train over there, and it was daytime. So I did make sure it was daytime though. So I go over there. I'm like, "What's up? What's up?" I brought my laptop. What, did I have a laptop? No, I'm sorry. I think it was my thumb drive. I don't think I had a laptop then. I think I had my desktop. Yeah, I know. So I had my thumb drives, whatever, and I think he had the computer. So we plugged up, you know what I'm saying, listening to some music, talking about some management things. And I remember I went to the bathroom and I came out. The vibe was totally different. So at this point, I'm like, I'm feeling the energy change drastically. So I can't remember the feeling, but I just know that, how in those shows or cartoons, you have like the exclamation that pops up the top of their head. That's what I was like, something ain't right. And, so I'm sitting down trying to, play off the energy like, I don't know what's going on. So then he begins to keep talking. And then I noticed he got like a little touchy, and use your imagination. I'm not going to lie, that situation really, that was painful for me. Like, I remember feeling pain. So next day, my homeboy, he was another one of the A&Rs from Universal, and he hit me up. And I want to say he came through to my dorm, right? And he was doing some, I think we were recording something, and he was at my computer. And I guess he could tell that something was up with me. Like the energy was kind of off with me. And this is, of course, because he came over, definitely somebody I trusted. I guess definitely not the right time, right? But definitely somebody I trusted. So he came over, we was always joking and laughing. Just good times. Always gave great gems. And I knew he was a rider for me, So he was basically just poking at me because he knew something was up. So he just kept pressing the issue, like, what's wrong? Like, what's going on? And I just bust out crying and told him what happened. And he was like, wow. Not to give out too much detail, but I could have got my get back with him. But I didn't want to have blood on my hands. Those were my molestation and rape experiences. So what's next? What's next is pretty much doing the work to heal from those experiences, because I've never went to therapy for those things, even though I've told them that I've experienced those. But I've never said, hey, let me sit down, let me process my feelings. So obviously, God's been putting it on my heart to do that. So that's definitely in the works as we speak. For you people that's always saying, why y'all take so long to say something? Man, there's so many reasons why. One reason I stated in the beginning is something that I put to the back and it was totally not a priority, not something that I think about. Trauma, you tend not to go there. There's situations where I did say something where nobody believed me. Oh man, there was another incident. Darn it. There was another incident before I get into that. Forgot about this one. So another music industry situation, with management. And we were basically club hopping. And with club hopping, we were speaking with the DJs, talking to the people. It's like basically I was like campaigning, really, with me and him. And I guess he's seeing how I flow and I'm seeing how he flow. We had a good work ethic together. I would say that. And it was one of those country clubs where, not a yeehaw country club, but like a club that's in the country, but it's hood. And it was BYOB, I think that's bring your own drink or something, however it go. So he popped his trunk and he had some drink. And at that time, I was a drinker. I was definitely a drinker. So I don't know if it was I drunk too much or if he slipped something in there, or was it just me drinking a lot and just moving and dancing, how I was feeling. But towards the end of the night, I started to feel a little nauseous, especially when we were riding in the car, and he was taking me to my house. And I want to say this time I was living. You know how if you grew up in like a single parent home and you go visit your other half in the summers. I was one of those kids. So I was staying with my dad at the time, and he was married to someone. I want to say we stayed in, was it Rayville? I think it was Rayville, Louisiana at this time. And this was around 2011, 2012, 2012, around that year that this happened. So this was after my college experience. And so on my way home, and he's like, it look like you finna throw up. I don't want you to throw up in my car. I could take you to a hotel. And I'm like, nah, take me home. Like, you know what I mean? It's like I'm up on game, but at the same time, I've been drinking, so I'm kind of like experiencing a little, what is it, vertigo? Vertigo will be spinning. And like, I'm just like, I just want to go home. I throw up at the toilet at the house. You know what I'm saying? He was like, no, I want you to throw up in my car. So at this time, I'm texting my dad. I don't know if I called him. I think I might have called, but I was just texting my dad. Was like, dude trying to take me to a hotel. I don't feel safe. Like, can you come get me? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, I'm taking precautions now. I've been through this a couple of times before. I'm trying to be proactive, reactive, you know what I'm saying? Because I wouldn't want this to go down again. So, pretty much, my dad doesn't call back, doesn't text back, and I'm like, oh, great. So, we go to the hotel, use your imagination, and during that, intertwining, I was throwing up. So that's what made me feel like, okay, was this a setup? Did I drink too much? Was I careless with my drinking? Was something slipped? Because I did feel a little, you know what I'm saying? Even though I was like, So anyway, I go home. I get a whooping and get called out my name. So, of course, I'm like, bro, life's not fair. I want to go back home to my mom type situation. So, I totally forgot about that one. So, that was my most recent experience. Like I say, that was 2011, 2012, around that time. Yeah. Yeah, so that one wasn't really too clear. If that was, I definitely was taken advantage of, but I don't know if I could call it a rape. I don't, you know what I mean? Because things were not clear, and I wish I had a chance to really sit down and talk with him about that time. You have times where people don't believe you. You have times where people will call you out your name like it was your fault. So there are times when women do speak up about these things. They just don't get help, And as far as telling my mom, I told my mom, and I don't know what transpired me to tell her, but I told her about one situation or one incident, and she just started bawling, crying like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, baby. I wish you would have told me." Kind of how a caring parent would respond if one of their children's, male or female, said that they were sexually assaulted. And I wanted to tell her about all the others, but I was like, the way she cried, I'm gonna have to take it to the grave because I don't want to see my mom that sad and not upset, but like you don't want to see your mom cry. So I just told her about one incident. Um, yeah. So, but there's so many reasons why they don't, and I think it's something that people need to have more empathy for. But people, well, if it was me, I would have. Yeah, okay, we'll see. I probably thought the same thing. If I ever get, man, I'm telling. My mom always told me to tell. Don't let nobody blackball you and say don't tell your mama because they're going to hurt her. Until it happens, you don't know. And I remember in therapy they talked about this freeze and flight response to traumatic situations. Back in the day, I was a freezer, so it would just catch me off guard and I would freeze. You know what I mean? Going through a traumatic situation or a traumatic event. Um, so anyway, for people who have experienced rape or molestation, I want to tell you that your first priority, excuse me, of course, is building a relationship with God, but you may not even be mentally, I don't want to say prepared or aware, mentally, I can't even think of the word to put right there, to have the best relationship with God because you need to heal from those traumas because a lot of times you don't even feel worthy of being in God's presence. You know what I'm saying? If you get what I'm catch it. And I'm not saying don't pursue a relationship with God. I'm not saying that. Pursue a relationship with God, baby, because that's the only person that's gonna really heal you. At the same time, you need to go to therapy, and find the right therapist. I know sometimes it can be expensive, so hopefully you can find. If you want Medicaid, most of that is free if you want Medicaid. But if you're not on Medicaid, try to find you a therapist, even if you can afford just to go once a month or once every 2 weeks. When I was going to therapy last year, I was going every Friday. And then it was like every Mondays when I got to Georgia. But yeah, definitely healing should be a priority because everything that you would do in life will be tainted. Every relationship that you have will be very toxic. Even if you're happy, it'll still be toxic, but you're toxic, so you don't see anything wrong with it. So your relationships are not really going to prosper. Pretty much everything you do will have some type of toxicity about it. Trust me. I know. So definitely healing, I can't stress that enough. Healing and building your intimacy in your relationship with God. Because if you have an intimacy relationship with people, how do you expect your intimacy level to be great with God? You know what I mean? Definitely something to think about. But please, 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 I can't stress enough. Your healing is so important. It's so detrimental to you prospering in life, you being free mentally, spiritually, physically, all that. Heal. I know at times we do things to cope. I know early on with molestation and rapes, I tended not to want to be around. I felt very uncomfortable around men. When they sat next to me, I would kind of lean over like this because I was so uncomfortable being around men. And growing up without a father, I definitely didn't understand them. I just knew that I knew what they like, and they'll do anything to get it. I knew that, so I definitely didn't trust a man. Also, we tend to turn towards drugs, alcohol, even sometimes promiscuity. You tend to fall deeper into lust. Some people may turn to the same sex. That wasn't necessarily in my case because I was already I already had same-sex attraction before the rapes for sure. I'm not sure about the molestation though. I don't think I was liking girls then. Um, and that's why healing is so important, because with that trauma, we take upon that trauma as our identity, and we start to move in the world. Um, I don't want to keep using toxic, but it's definitely an error. Like, it's kind of like everything you touch it's not going to work out in the long end. And you will have messed up friendships, relationships with family. Like I said, spouses is going to be toxic all the way around. What is also very important besides the healing part, forgiveness. This is such a big one. To forgive those people who have molested you, have raped you, and also have beat you, and any type of offenses as well. But this video is based around molestation and rape. Whoever molested you, whoever raped you, it's like I'm begging you to please forgive them. Because you don't want to be in bondage because of what somebody did to you. And they done moved on with their life. They doing good, even if they not doing, they done moved on with their life. They're not thinking about you. They did what they did and they moved on. And you still holding on to that years ago. You know, based upon what happened back then, you still making every decision based upon what happened back then, out of hurt and not trying to be hurt. Like, the same thing, the same goes with like relationships. Like, we'll base our present relationship on our last relationship. Oh, I'm not doing that because such and so they did that when, you know, I try to do that, so I'm not doing that with my next relationship. And that's hurt people. So definitely that's why it's so important to heal and forgive. Forgive, heal, forgive, heal is number one. Forgive, number two. Well, forgive should be number one, but heal and forgive. Now, of course, after you forgive them, you may hear some people say, oh, it's not in the Bible to forgive yourself. We need to forgive ourselves because, especially for the ones who didn't say anything, or for the ones who may have said something, for the ones who felt like I should have did this, or I shouldn't have went to that person's house, or whatever you may be blaming yourself. It's not your fault. Baby girl or baby boy, if you were standing outside butt naked, that don't give nobody no excuse and no reasons to take advantage of you. They are in the wrong. Forgive yourself. Don't feel shameful. There's no condemnation when you ask God to forgive you. But forgive yourself. Don't be ashamed of what happened to you. You have to erase that shame, baby. Because that'll eventually cause health problems. You going to the doctor trying to figure out what's wrong, and they can't find that. I don't know. The doctor say, no, I took the x-ray. I don't know. You know, take 2 of these and call me in the morning. Baby, unforgiveness will cause health problems and will cause you to have a premature death. And do you really want to die with all that? Nah. So healing, forgiveness, and forgiving yourself. After those two, take it easy. Take it easy on yourself. You know, take time to, as they say, self-care. Like maybe going to a spa, reading the Bible, reading an inspirational book. Find something that you like to do that'll kind of soothe you and calms you. You know, like I say, definitely therapy, baby. Definitely therapy. Now, with all that being said, there are some things that I did learn the hard way, of course, and what I experienced. So if you are a young woman, I don't care. You know what? Even if you elderly, but for my young women who may not know, I don't want to say know any better. I can't really speak for the guys, but guys, you can take an account to this too, because there are people preying on y'all too. I mean, nowadays, men getting raped, boys getting raped too, by the same sex and the opposite sex, of course. If somebody wanted to have a meeting or something with you, make sure it's in a public place. Don't go to nobody's house. I don't care what it is, what kind of opportunity it is. You know, unless you got a gun on you and you ready to do, which I don't advocate for violence. So just meet up in a public place. Like, it's certain stuff like that I wish I would have. And this goes back to just forgiving myself, because Like I say, your word is bond. I done hung out with these people before. I'm thinking it's all good, you know. Knowing what I know now, I definitely wouldn't have done that. Um, yeah, so, you know, just be very, very cautious and discerning of people. Because we're living in a time now where there's a lot of wolves in sheep clothes. And you really have to pray for discernment. But I don't want you guys that have been molested, that have been assaulted, sexually assaulted, to blame yourselves. Like that was a big thing. I've always in the past felt ashamed about it. But now no condemnation. I could tell my story without shedding tears and breaking down. So if you have been raped or assaulted, um, like I've been saying, healing, forgiveness, forgiving yourself, taking it easy on yourself, and just being more aware of your actions and the things that you do. You know what I mean? So hopefully this has helped somebody. And I'm praying for your healing, for your growth. And please forgive these people. It's probably going to be the hardest thing you have to do, but it feels so much lighter to forgive those who have hurt us. Because like they say, forgiveness is for who? You, not them. It doesn't excuse what they did. It doesn't mean that what they did was right. This is for you. Remember that. And you deserve it. You deserve to forgive. Because guess what? God forgives you. When you ask him for forgiveness, he'll forgive you. And if you don't forgive, guess what? God won't forgive who? You. So you deserve that forgiveness. So forgive. Working out that forgiveness. And if you still like, I don't want to forgive, you need to ask God to help you to forgive. Yeah. So love y'all. Be good, be safe. That was my testimony. Peace.